It was just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking because there was nothing that you can, it's the most helpless feeling in the world. You want so badly to do something, but you can't bring that individual back. You're lost. Your heart is on the floor, and then you're trying to be strong for the children, and they're screaming and crying, and you forget and you lose it, and you start screaming and crying. You go, no, I must be strong for them and tell them it's going to be okay. My poor mother, she just sat there with the kids on her lap. She just sat there and just looking straight ahead. And I could see the pain and the sorrow in her eyes. But she was strong. She chose not to cry. And I think she chose that for the children. See that girl, she knows I'm watching. He's always been thin, but Michael was not well. And the people that worked around him knew that he was not well. Michael did not have a good bill of health, although it was reported that he did. The insurance and the doctor that looked after him said it was, but no, it was not. The doctor was working with someone else, and he reported that Michael was doing fine. Michael was very cold. Michael was freezing. Michael, temperature would go up and down. He was extremely fragile, extremely thin. When you embraced him and hugged him, he was all bones. I had seen him a couple of weeks prior to his passing, and I couldn't believe how excruciatingly thin he was. I always wanted the world to see Michael the way we did. Just such a good, loving, caring, kind person.
Why do you think we didn't get to see that Michael?
Because he didn't want to show you that side of him. He was more involved in his entertainment and his talent, which you didn't see his talent. He had so much more talent than he showed you guys, which is amazing.
There's the grief, but there must be a huge amount of frustration too.
Well, yes, of course there is. And when you say frustration, you mean on the part of what actually happened and what took place. Personally, I think it's a slap in the face to not just... So this is just... I don't understand the judicial system here in America at the moment. I just don't understand what's going on and why this is taking so long and why the people that are responsible for this have really not given the justice that they deserve.
You've always come out and said you believe Michael was murdered. 1 year on, do you feel now you're over?
From the day that I found out that Michael was no longer with us, when my mother screamed he's dead on the phone, I just went into this who did it.
What's your theory then, LaToya, that happened?
Michael was murdered for his catalog. That's the bottom line. He was murdered for his catalog. And they knew that. And they knew Michael was much more, worth so much more dead than alive. His children deserve the truth. I think his parents deserve the truth, his family, and his fans.
Yes, and we'll have more of that interview with LaToya Jackson tomorrow, when she'll be telling us how Michael's children are coping with a very different life a year on.
But Michael, you know, he kept those kids in. He kept them very restricted and confined. He didn't want them to be amongst the world.